Hey, we're number 9. I'm Jaryd.
I'm Parker.
I'm Josh.
What's up, awesome people? Today we have the honor of interviewing number 9, so let's get to it. Can you share the story of how your band got together?
We both kind of knew of each other through like mutual friends who played in churches in the area, and we both ended up at the same church and just kind of had other ideas that might not apply for standard church music, so we just wanted to take them somewhere. I feel like that's an accurate way to put it. What's your take on it?
I kind of showed up to the church that you were playing at, and I played drums and he played bass, so we kind of naturally clicked like in what we were playing, and we're like, hey, we should do something with this, and that's kind of how Jaryd and I got started playing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What influences and inspires your music?
Yes.
Okay, you go first.
I would say just like the camaraderie between musicians on stage, and just like the fun you get, like, you know, those certain moments that you kind of stumble upon like with other musicians, and that's like a really good feeling. So that's kind of like why I do it, is the feeling.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like that part of it is just each other. I think we influence and inspire each other. As far as like from a lyrical standpoint, it's often like struggle or like saying things that I couldn't say, but wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable saying straight out. And it's also like beneficial because something cool comes out of it rather than just like, wow, you just said that. So, what about you?
Well, you know, like they were saying, they started the group, just the two of them. So me coming in, you know, I joined probably like early last year.
Was it 2021?
Wow, has it been that long already? That's crazy.
Or was it 22?
I don't remember.
Wow, that's a long time.
But with joining, you know, they already had their set dynamic and their set flow, and you know, I didn't want to come in and change any of that. My goal was to hopefully just add to it. So in talking about like what's inspiring, like for dynamics and stuff, getting to see the flow that they already had was really inspiring, because then it kind of left this pocket for me to get to say, like, I don't know, we were talking about it earlier before you got here, like I feel like what inspires me is when we're playing, I don't really, not that I don't care about what the people in the crowd think or whatever, I want everyone to have a good time, but like I just love getting to play with these guys. So if we're having fun and if we all like what we're playing, to me that's enough.
That's cool. For anyone who hasn't heard of you before, how can you describe your music?
One of the last times we sound checked, I asked who wants to hear sad songs played really loud. And I feel like that might be accurate. I don't know, the term just alternative comes to mind, which that's kind of a blanket statement, but maybe you guys have a problem with this, but I've come to terms with it's probably more emo than anything. But I don't know if that's accurate or not.
No, I feel like it probably
but I guess when you say sad songs played really loud, I guess that's
pretty emo.
Yeah. I think one of the first things that Parker and I bonded over is the fact that we're both huge Mute Math fans. So I think that for better or for worse, if you're a Mute Math fan or not, I feel like a lot of like what he and I come up with, or our pocket or our vibes, I can definitely tell that that's a pretty big influence too. Plus, just, I don't know, playing stuff as we've all grown up individually.
That's cool. It was when I first heard, like, I knew you guys for a while, but when I first heard about your band was Justin Hatton. He made this statement. I forget what other band he compared it to, but like at the time I was really into Brand New, and he was like, it's like Brand New mixed with like someone else. And
I would say that's accurate.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. I think same individual referred to it as sad boy hardcore.
Which is cool, because I think off of all that, you guys have, maybe that's what started the influence, but like you definitely come into your own sound. Like, yeah, you can put it in a category, but don't see a lot of 3-piece bands doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's nice. That's nice to hear.
All right. Walk us through your songwriting process.
Well,
Go ahead, Jaryd.
So I kind of like just have a giant run-on sentence like in my phone in like several notebooks. I don't know why it's not consolidated into one notebook, but that's like stuff that if I can get it out of my head quick enough, I'll try to jot it down, and then sitting down and kind of playing over some chords, finding something that fits it appropriately, or even it might not even be like a collection of a thought completely, but one line that from there it kind of completes the thought, and then they will either tell me they like it or don't like it, or hey, can we change this, or can we add this part, or can you say something differently, and that's usually it, and then we have a song created.
That's cool. So are you doing most of the lyrics?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
trying to think if we've
Well, we have like a group text, so like if Parker has an idea or like if I have an idea, like we'll still send stuff, but yeah, the majority of the time, like I feel like at least since I've joined, a few of the new songs that we've created have been like bits and pieces that like a segment of something he sends or a segment of something I send, and then Jaryd will be like, hey, I like that, let me do this, and then we'll show up to rehearsal and he'll be like, hey, actually I think I wrote a whole song. And then we just run through it.
Yeah, we'll say I think the last two songs we wrote, one was something that you guys came up with, and then the other one was something I like just sent Parker and he just played drums to it. I was like, and I think that was the one where we're like, oh yeah, that's done. We're good with
that's
it,
a
right?
whole song.
And then just a couple other like random ideas that just have kind of embellished existing things. So anyway.
Good.
No, it's cool because like the way that Jaryd writes his like riffs or whatever that he sends us, it's like because we're all like kind of on the same wavelength, like it makes it really easy because we kind of pick up what he's playing and like we almost kind of know like what to play already. Not that he's writing our parts necessarily, but like we know like kind of how to hit certain parts because of like how he's written it, or you know, little like key hits or features in the sound clips. So it's like it's easy, but it's still fun and enjoyable because it's like, oh yeah, like that's what I would play and that's what he would play. So it just kind of works out nicely.
At the risk of sounding like pretentious, no one's ever said anything good after that. but that to me, like writing music, especially when you know you're writing with other people, like you know the spots that they're gonna fill, or like the parts that they are going to play that you can't, or like that they would play better. So like that is, I mean, honestly, become easier too, especially when we decided to stop being just two guys. So that became like easier and made the writing process easier because I thought it would like be more of a challenge, but it's not. So
that's cool. And obviously you guys' friendship has like a huge part in that, being band members as well, because just like how you guys talk to each other. And
I think so. I think too, like I think again, I can only speak to the experience of having been in here for however long I've been in the group now, but like I want to think that we all legitimately trust each other. So like if say I am like, well, I have an idea for what I want to do here, but I'm not sure, I have no issue being like, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think? And then if they like it, cool, or if they say, well, I'm thinking this, there's no part of me like getting rid of the whole ego thing. You just have to be like, hey, like I trust these guys, they say what they're saying, or vice versa. If they have an idea and we're trying to figure out how it works, I just feel like we always come to decisions pretty unanimously. I don't think that we've ever, at least since I've been, I don't think we've ever had a moment where I've been like, I hate that they said that, but like I gotta do it. Like we we're able to talk it out. It's pretty cool.
All right. Are there any specific themes or messages you convey through your music?
Not necessarily. I kind of said this earlier. Like for me, like the writing process has been like finding a way to say something without actually coming out and saying it. Like some stuff, it's it's a little more obvious, and sometimes like at shows like I'll kind of spell out like what a song is about. But the overarching theme, there's no, nothing there. I mean, again, more often than not, the songs are all sad. But it's just important because I think for me, I mean, I think a lot of people talk about therapy and things being therapeutic for them. And for me, it's definitely my form of therapy to put sound or a lyric that kind of smears the line of what's actually being said. And I guess if anything, just that people feel more comfortable in that and finding ways to express themselves constructively, because it's kind of weird because we play a song that's really dark when you think about it like lyrically, but it's so fun to play, so it's kind of one of those things. And I guess on the back end you look at, you can't enjoy something good without something bad. So I guess if that's the message. But I don't know, that's at least helped me.
That is true though. Like lyrically, I know that these songs are sad, but man, I'm just so happy and having such a fun time. So it's like maybe that's like a weird juxtaposition of like I know what we're conveying, but I just have a good time.
Yeah, when we were first starting out, like I knew the words, but I didn't know like the full meanings behind the songs. And then I finally asked him one day, I was like, "Hey, what's this song about?" And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I wanted to know that actually." But it's still fun. It's like, I just kind of, I mean, if you said something crazy, controversial, I might be like, "Hey, don't say that." But for the most part, it's like, that's like you expressing, your thoughts. So
right.
So
yeah, that's fine. I'll just play drums.
So you're saying you wish you could go back to when you didn't know what it was about?
Yeah,
Take it
kicking
back,
that,
take it back.
kicking that chair. I don't know about that, man. But
Alright, here's the fun one. Or not the fun one, but what is the most memorable, unique performance you guys have ever played?
Performance. I'm a counter question you, or
Okay.
counter answer you.
Okay.
We did have a really cool show, emo karaoke. That was really fun. So like that's a memorable performance because one, it's the first time Josh played with us, and everything was like infinitely better. Two, it was so well received. Like everyone was there to do emo karaoke, so it was like probably the biggest crowd that we had got to play for, and like just again everyone responded really well. And I just never had been to an emo karaoke or done anything like that, so it was really neat like how they did a live band, and like anyone doing karaoke basically got to be like the lead singer of The Used or Paramore or Panic at the Disco for a song,
That's
so
cool.
I thought that was a neat concept. And the counter answer I have for you is we did a single called Arachnid that our friend Asher did for us, just as he's getting the studio set up, and we thought, like, I mean, to date, I feel like it's probably one of the best sounding things that we had put out there. Like our first EP was cool and all, but like this, as far as like any idea we had, Asher was just like, yeah, let's try this. It's like we did all sorts of silly stuff, like saying curse words, and like he put it in reverse, and it like added this really cool like build effect to the chorus. It was a lot of fun, but like on the back end, we're like, whoa, like this sounds awesome.
Are there any challenges that you guys have faced in a band, and how did you overcome those?
People only think we sound like 20 dB of overheads. I think COVID, obviously for anyone, not just us exclusively, but also like trying to get into a local scene, like Lakeland the past 3 years has really started to like develop and cultivate, and like I don't know, I can't think of a better word than like honor like local musicians in such a huge way. And not to say Tampa doesn't, but Tampa was very difficult for us to get into, and even like here locally, because primarily when we got started playing shows it was with hardcore bands, and the venue that we would commonly play these shows at would always, talk about these other indie shows they put on, but we'd never get, put on those. But it was always hardcore, and it was always opening. And that could be kind of discouraging because you have to act like, are we doing something wrong, But at the same time, we were the ones, I guess, that kept saying yes to these shows instead of, I guess, being more forward and upfront, being like, look, dude, like, we'd rather not keep opening. And maybe that would have made a difference, maybe it wouldn't. I'm kind of assuming it probably wouldn't have made a difference because it's been a completely different experience having no longer done shows with them. So I don't even know if they do shows anymore. It's unimportant, but anyway. So I don't know. I feel like that was a hard one, just trying to find people who like, and promoters that weren't just like, hey, I'm gonna sit here and do nothing and like get a cut of what's made at the door. But here recently, Chris Torres in Lakeland, he's always been like super great at getting us paid. I want to say one of the first nights there was emo karaoke. He and the guy that put it on, someone busted out a checkbook, which is hilarious because I could not tell you the last time I've seen a checkbook, but like they paid us like right on the spot. I was like, this never happens.
Yeah, right.
Usually it's like, oh yeah, we had to pay for the venue, and then this band got this and this band did this, and this band didn't even show up, but they're getting a piece, so
Yeah.
good luck next time. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think like if we're talking, I know we talked about it earlier, but like internally, we genuinely like I really love these guys. So like if there's any challenges band wise for me, it's not from either of them. It could just be like stuff going on around me, like before a show or whatever, and those are the things you kind of have to work through. But and maybe I'm crazy, but like I feel like we're really lucky, or I'm really lucky that I get to be in a band with these two, and that we get to make music that we really enjoy and we really love. So if there's no challenges in that department, then I feel like we can take on anything else that comes up.
Wow. That was a sweet answer.
Hey, you know what? I'm full.
He's going after the hearts, making people cry,
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not me though, I don't cry.
Yeah.
It's a good way to water your beard, and it helps a lot. All right.
Nourishes it.
We'll do this one first. What advice can you give up and coming musicians or band members? You guys have been playing music for a while, probably have had lots of experience, and do's and don'ts or just encouragement would be good.
Yeah, I would say, like, I think about me as a kid, or even as a teenager, trying to like figure out. There's so many musicians, there's so many bands, there's so many people doing things, and I think that at the time when I was really trying to figure out like who I was as a musician, I was putting way too much pressure on myself to be like, well, especially from like a bass player's perspective, like you got to do it like this and you got to do it like that, but your heroes do this, so make sure you play it like that. And I think everyone has their strengths, everyone has their things that they bring to a scenario or to the table, and rather than maybe seeing what someone else does and being like, oh, but they do that, why can't I? And maybe you can, maybe you can't, but like if there are things that you yourself can do, maybe you don't believe it, and maybe it'll take time for you to see it, but there might be someone else looking at you being like, well, those things that you're doing, that's what I did. We all have our own perspectives that we bring, so I think rather than putting pressure on yourself to do a certain thing, I would just say learn to love it and learn to love it the way that you do it. And if you get lucky enough to find a group of folks who you enjoy playing music with, then you're set. But even if you never do, even if it's just one of those things where like you're a bedroom musician and that's it, that's still cool. If you enjoy it and if you get something like therapeutic out of it, or if you enjoy the time that it takes or the feelings that it gives you whenever you just sit down and play some music, then that's still like a huge win. And just like being okay with that.
That's good.
In the same vein, like, if it's not fun, just don't do it. Like,
Right.
I mean, like, not,
Right.
and I'm not saying like don't practice. Like, practice, even
Yeah.
that, like, it's like fun in a sense, even though it's like work. But But you know, if it's ever just like, man, like I don't want to do this, like no one's telling you have to. No one's telling us that we have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I think another thing, like any advice I would say is like celebrate others, because if you can't do that, no one's gonna celebrate you. Especially in a local music scene, like don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a small town, and word gets around fast. And be easy to work with. This is probably like the cheesiest thing I do, but like past few shows we've done, I always like address the sound guy and have everyone applaud him, because the show doesn't really exist without him. Because I can't run sound and do, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
One, I just can't run sound. Period. But two, like I can't do both at the same time. And especially when we get compliments on how we sound, like that's a lot to do with the front of the house guy. So I think that not that everyone has to, you know, go and, you know, do something like that, but I really think manners go a long way. And again, it's everyone's in the same boat as you. Don't be a try hard, you know, because again, we're all in the same boat, and you know, that old saying, you have to kind of give respect to get respect. So if you're not out passing it around, don't expect to get it in return.
That's good.
Yeah. I think like going to shows and supporting the bands that you like, kind of in the same, like, you know, if you want people to show up to your show, like you also want to attend theirs and support them, because like you're saying, it is like a, you know, the local scene is important for locals, and like, you know, getting your songs out there, your music out there. Like if you want to be supported, like you also should support, you know, bands that you like. I think like practicing too, like it is fun, and like I was taught, yeah, practice what you're not good at. Like don't practice what you are good at, because you're already good at it. Like
Right.
yeah, you want to keep up with it, but like if you sound good when you practice, like you're probably not doing it right, because you know, you want to suck and you want to be bad. And I think that's something I learned a long time ago too, is like just being really bad for a long time at your instrument, because you know, everyone thinks you got to be good so quick. Even now, I'm like, I want to sound just like so and so. I'm like, well, where did they come from? How much time did they spend to get to where they're at? Because you know, our favorite bands, like they've been playing for 20 years, and it's like, yeah, we're only like, I don't know, the three of us together are like 3 years into this. We've been playing since 2016, but even then, it's like we're still just like scratching the surface of like what could be, you know. So just keep at it, really, because it's gonna sound bad at some point. And there's even like, I would say just write too, because like we've written songs that we have never touched again, and like, you know, they're in the mental archives, but you know, we had to write that song to get to the next song, and you know, you're gonna make a few duds, but that's just part of the like writing process, and learning, you know, what kind of musician you want to be as well.
All right. So, is there anything you guys want to bring up that we didn't go over on the interview? And anything, drop some knowledge bombs or?
I have one.
Oh boy.
No.
If you're a band, get your stuff off stage before you start packing it away. Just get out of the way. There's other people trying to do stuff. Drummers are the worst. When I see someone sit down, no, not you.
I know.
You're
I
really
know how
good.
it goes.
You're really good at like just like, hey, get all my drums off the stage and then I'll take everything apart.
Yeah.
But like it feels like in my head every time I do it, I'm self-conscious because I feel like I'm like trying to be like the NASCAR, you know, pit stop where I'm like just everything's off stage, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like packing it away. But yeah, that's my pet peeve is when I see that there's like 8 bands on the bill, which is astronomical when a show starts at 7 and there's 8 bands playing, and it's always some young band, sometimes it's a tough guy just taking their time, just unwrapping it. I will take every cable and everything, just throw it off the stage. Figure it out later. If it's tangled, so what? It's my problem, not the 8 other bands that have to go on after us. Give us your little nugget of wisdom.
I think that, like, I said it earlier. Parker talked about it a little bit earlier too. Like, it's a good thing that there's so many different musicians out there, and there are so many more people who want to continue to learn and all that stuff. And I don't know about you, and I know we've talked about it a little bit, but like growing up, or not even growing up, even now, there are times where I feel like sometimes people, other musicians, view it as like a competition, or as like, you're doing this and that makes me upset, jealous, angry, whatever, or vice versa. We could do that basically if we saw what someone else was doing. And I just think that's such a waste of time. I think that we're all here to have a good time, and like it doesn't need to be one of those things where you feel some type of frustration towards someone else just because they're doing something that is similar to what you do, or they enjoy the same things that you do. Everyone does stuff differently. Everyone has their own things that they bring to the table, and it's so easy to look at someone else and feel that feeling of I don't know, unnecessary competition, for lack of a better word. And I just think that we're all here to have a good time. I just want to support everyone else around me, local bands, people that aren't like on the bill with us and stuff. I just be nice, be kind. That's all you gotta do. It's not hard.
That's good stuff.
Be nice.
Be kind.
Listen to your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Eat your vegetables.